Just uploaded a bunch of stuff on Spotify the other day.
Nice, nice. I gotta check it out, man. I didn't get to check it out yet. So let's dive right in, boss. So you're an MLO.
Right.
Now explain for the audience what exactly is a mortgage loan officer?
We sell money, basically. That's the short of it. We sell money, and since this is what we actually do for a living, we know how to get you your money the cheapest. Whereas, did you want to know the difference between a broker and a banker, or just the
Sure,
mortgage
sure,
person
yeah,
in general?
sure. You can dive into that, sure.
All right. So, as a broker, our fiduciary duty is to the client themselves. Whereas with the banker, it's more towards, the board of directors, the investors, blah, 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 blah.
And I saw, oh, I just noticed your hat. I like your hat, man. So
If I'm gonna be branded, I'm gonna be branded with me.
yeah, yeah. So I saw on your card that you're a vice president.
Yes.
And what is the name of your company?
Legacy Financial.
Nice. And where are you located?
It's out in Oceanside, but honestly, in today's day and age, everything's done through sometimes fax machines, but pretty much the internet and the
Yes.
phone.
It's pretty close to me. I'm in Floral Park myself. So how long have you been doing this job now?
When did the towers fall? Like '01,
Yes, yes.
'02.
Oh, right after. Okay.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to pursue this job?
Kind of fell into it by accident, actually.
Yeah. That's how it
Yeah, when I was younger,
is.
I was wanting to become a stockbroker because,
I've
that
heard
used to
that
be a lot.
before. I've heard that
What's that?
before. It seems like a similar story to other people.
Yeah, it seems, I mean, honestly, when you're young, you want to go where the money is and,
Yes.
stay out of jail, obviously.
Yep.
So they used to be, selling stocks. I actually had an interview at the Trade Center on 9/11. Luckily, it was a few hours later, thank God.
Wait, at the Twin Towers?
Yeah.
Oh my God. On that same day?
Same day, yeah. I was trying to put on a tie. I was trying to
That's
figure out how to put on a tie, rather.
that's a crazy story.
Yeah, God got a plan,
That's a crazy story.
you know. So went from that, ended up in a boiler room in Garden City.
Uh-huh.
And, like I didn't even finish up college at that time, so I didn't even know what a boiler room was.
Right.
But, you want me to sell something, I'll sell it. That's easy. Again, you're selling money.
Right.
Who doesn't want to buy money?
I don't think I've ever heard it to described that way, selling money. That's a very interesting way to put it. So, tell us about your very first year. The first year is usually the hardest. Tell us about your very first year, Mohammed.
Well, I started off as a telemarketer actually. So from the very bottom. So you can't say it was hard, but also it was fun. But also granted, those were the cowboy days.
What is the
So
cowboy days?
there was like no rules, no regulations, no nothing. Like you
I
wanted a
see.
house, you got a house. Like we were all Oprah, basically. You know.
That's a good
And,
way to put it.
to be honest, like we were just too young and ignorant to know any better.
Yeah.
So, it was just basically you want a house, all right, you got one. Didn't always end well for everybody. Obviously the market did collapse, but it did create a lot of generational wealth for a lot of people.
Yes. So that's a very interesting way to put it. So obviously the market changed a lot over the years. Would you say that it's harder to buy a home now than ever before for the average person?
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Yeah.
So for one, everything has to be documented, which is a little bit tough, especially in certain communities. They don't always document everything.
Uh,
That secondly, price real estate is a great investment.
yep.
It's the longest known investment, pretty much. I mean, the Garden of Eden was real estate, if you think about it.
That's a funny way
So,
to put it.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason
Oh,
why
really?
it's a safe investment. I mean, '08, the market crashed because of real estate. It went from, Corona being, $1 million down to about 700,000. 3 years later, you're back at a million,
Right.
you know. Yeah, okay, real estate crashes, but not that much, not in New York. God ain't
I mean,
creating more land.
the last crash was literally '08, which was 16 years ago.
Yeah. And everybody that bought since then made a fortune,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. I was like 18 back then, so too bad I didn't have the money. So, Mohammed, walk us through a normal day in your shoes. What time do you wake up? Coffee or tea? Walk us through a normal day.
So I have a weird internal clock where I wake up at like 5
Wow.
every day, no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty annoying. Like I'll wake up, go to the bathroom, I look at the microwave, the thing says five. I'm like, damn, again.
Yeah, but I'm sure that you accomplish more that way.
Yes and no. So I used to have bad insomnia once upon a time.
Oh,
And I used to be on that, sleep is the cousin of death, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Truth is, the body needs rest. The body and mind needs rest.
The older we get too.
Truth. I used to have a fro. Time catches up.
I'm not too far behind.
Embrace it, man.
Uh, uh,
Now, yeah, I'll get more done than, people that are, just sleeping or whatever it is, but everybody has the same 24 hours. It's really what you choose to do with it every day. So, my routine is, I wake up, first thing I do is I'm responding to emails. I'm getting as much computer work done as possible before the phone starts ringing.
yep.
Because, once that starts, pretty much, the focus just kind of goes out the window. You know,
Coffee or
Uh,
tea?
what's that?
Coffee or tea in the morning?
Oh, black coffee, no sugar, and I want it to taste as nasty as possible.
For the
Like, I
energy?
know it's a mental thing, but in my messed up head, I feel like the worse it tastes, the more awake it's going to keep me.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, no,
I
no, it's absolutely wrong. I've had it proven
Oh, is
wrong.
it?
But, it's just a mental thing, you know?
Well, I know people who drink Red Bulls in the morning. But go ahead, continue with your story.
Yeah, no, that's just pretty much it. Wake up, do that. Depending on the day, usually I try to get to the gym like 3 times a week. I try to do that in the mornings.
Right. Mm.
Turns out taking out time to do that actually gives you extra energy throughout the day, which,
Yep.
funny, but it works.
And what time do you stop working? Evening?
When the phone stops ringing,
Nah, that's a good
pretty
answer.
much. I
I
mean, I try to cut it off around like, let's say 6, 7 o'clock, but if it's time to get busy, it's time to get busy.
Yeah, I mean, if that phone rings, you got to pick up. So how about Saturdays and Sundays? You work Saturdays and Sundays?
Yes and no. So I used to do a lot of any sort of work I would just do. You want me at an open house? Boom, I'm there wasting my time. Now it's more, a client calls, I'm there to pick up the phone. Because again, a lot of what we do is virtual. I can do more in 1 hour of being on a phone than going to a meeting, spending an hour going back and forth and commuting and doing all of that. And quite honestly, that one question that a client has, it's going to take me, what, 5 minutes to answer? Which to me isn't a big deal, but buying a house is a milestone event.
Yes.
I know when I go to buy a printer, I'm like looking up all sorts of stuff I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, and they often tell me, like, they're glad that I take their call and answer the questions, put them at ease. I'm there when, the seller has a question, the listing agent, needs to speak to somebody. It goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't pick up the phone, they're going to go to someone else.
All right.
So tell us how you got from a regular MLO to a vice president.
Just kept putting in work, pretty much. So my business model is pretty simple. Well, I guess let me start off with I have a huge ego. Like you can't fill up a room with my ego.
Wow.
But the good part about that is I'm always making sure that I deliver on everything I say 10 out of 10 times because, somebody with an ego does not like to apologize. I ain't trying to do that.
Mm,
You know, and reason I say that is my main concern is to look over the client's best interest.
mm,
So doing that, I make sure that, my rates beat everybody.
yeah.
Infrastructure of the company beats everybody.
Uh,
Now, with those things in mind, being the only thing kept in mind. Because quite frankly, you do the work, you do it right, you will get paid. That's just the way the world works.
yep.
Unless, you're just a complete moron, that's something else.
Yep.
But you do the right thing, the right things tend to happen.
Yes.
And with that is position.
But I'm also willing to bet that the ego somewhat hurt. Doesn't the ego hurt the business sometimes?
Yes and no, because I believe not all business is good business.
Mm,
You know, there's people that, they may make 5 million a year,
right.
but they're ashamed of themselves. Like,
Mhm.
If you value it just on money, yeah, okay. But at the end of the day, I can look in this mirror and smile.
Yeah.
I can call up old clients like these are friends. These people love me. Their families love me.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what your definition of business is. If it's just money, yeah, it could. But if it's success and being able to live with yourself,
Right.
if used correctly, it could be a good thing.
Right. Mohammed, what is your favorite thing about being an MLO?
Helping people create generational wealth.
Good answer.
Yeah, 100%. Because a lot of people in a lot of communities, it feels out of reach for them.
Yes.
They walk into certain places like people ain't gonna talk to them, you know? Hell, a lot of the people in these certain places, they don't even know what they're doing, let alone being able to look out for people and understand where they're coming from.
Right.
So, one person might make $100, another person makes $100. You'd be surprised at the ones that are making quite a bit, but don't realize their purchasing power.
Hmm.
I mean, we see that just, lately in, with sneakers over the past couple of years, where all of a sudden, we're getting catered to.
Do you resell?
Where, what's that?
You resell sneakers?
No, no, I'm just saying that, all of a sudden, it's not all about, little polo shirts, I guess.
Hmm.
Like Fubu had its time, you
Right.
know, like
You're saying everything's temporary.
not even really everything's temporary, but it's a certain mindset where some people, even though they're making it, don't believe that homeownership is really for them, that it's attainable. You know, like, do you know how many times I've spoken to couples where they're making over 150, 200,000 a year,
Right.
and then they're surprised when I pre-approve them.
Right.
When I'm like, with your debt to income ratios, like, you can pretty much buy whatever you want within reason.
Yep.
But maybe the way the system is set up, they're not really raised to think like that.
Hmm.
And then when I get to help those people, and then, during the summertime, the little barbecue, you see the family running around, all that. Love that.
Yeah, you're changing lives with your job. What is your least favorite thing about being an MLO? Too many to name?
I know I'm probably gonna catch flack for this, but fighting attorneys.
Interesting. Tell
Yeah.
us about that.
Um, there are a lot of good attorneys. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong on that. There are a lot of very good ones.
Uh-huh.
But there are certain people that think that having their intelligence quantified on a piece of paper makes them smarter than others.
Interesting.
When in fact, they're not always the solution, but actually part of the problem.
Hmm.
Like there's been multiple times where, a family couldn't get their house because the attorney didn't want to do something as simple as pick up the phone during business hours,
Yep.
you know, and I always tell this to home buyers, like, me, the realtor, the lawyer, all of us work for you. If one of us isn't performing, fire us.
Hmm.
So when it comes to problems, I think half of the time it's me fighting attorneys.
Wow.
Also, New York is a contract state, so it
Right.
has something to do with that.
You're giving some very interesting answers that I've never heard before. I've never heard that. That's really
Oh, yeah,
interesting.
I tend to say things people aren't supposed to say out loud.
No, no, but you're being honest. You're giving the raw truth, and I've never heard these answers before. So thank you for the new information. Do you deal with commercial real estate as well?
I do it personally, I don't like it.
Why not?
Don't get me wrong, I like the check. I'll spend the check,
Hmm.
but you're not really creating generational wealth with it. These are
Hmm.
people that they already have the wealth. I'll help them, but the truth is they don't need my help. Whereas with the first time home buyer, they might not need me, but there's a chance that they do.
Well, if they're taking out a loan, they do need someone. They do need MLO.
Yes, but the thing is, money doesn't solve anything, but it does solve a lot. And if you're buying commercial, you already have options,
Hmm.
you know. Don't get me wrong, I like the business, but I like to do business with the people that I can actually help,
Hmm.
that
It's a,
need my help rather.
right. It's a lot more political. So, Mohammed, your job is 100% commission based.
Absolutely.
So just for the people at home that are thinking about being an MLO, understand that it's 100% commission based. You're not salaried, you're not hourly. So, you got to get out there. You got to work hard. Mohammed, where do you get your leads from?
So this is a funny thing. So, like I said, you do business the right way, the right things come. Everything is from referrals. Absolutely everything.
Hmm. So,
And
so,
then, like I said, you help people create generational wealth. They'll tell their friends, they'll tell their family. Hell, there's been people that I was not able to help
hmm.
that still send over their relatives because they know that, if there was a way, we exhausted every avenue to try.
So you don't pay for leads.
No.
Everything is
There's nothing wrong with that,
right.
but just not my way.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you already have a large clientele, you shouldn't go that route. Um, Mohammed, do you view other MLOs as competition?
I wouldn't say competition, so I do, like I said, I have an ego,
Hmm.
so I do like having to compete with people,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I wouldn't really say competition because everybody has their own way of doing things.
Hmm.
And quite frankly, loan officers we don't really come across each other unless it's after the fact, meaning that, somebody went somewhere and they're